Hi, and welcome to the second in my series of tutorials about Squarespace. This one is specifically about creating and editing pages in Squarespace, and this is also specifically for Squarespace 7.0, which has been replaced by 7.1, but there are many websites still on 7.0, including my own. So let's go on to the next slide. This is what you'll learn: how to create a page, how to add content to the page, how to edit the settings of the page, how to optimize for search engines, how to enable or disable a page, and how to add the page to navigation. So, first of all, when you log into your website, you'll see something like this. You want to go to Pages, and then to create a new page, if you want that page to appear in your navigation, which typically would be across the top here, then you would click the plus button here. Now, for this example, I don't want this page to appear in the navigation. So I'm going to go down to where it says not linked, and I'm going to add a page in this area here. And what that means is that it doesn't have to be a hidden page. It just means it's linked to from somewhere else in the website and it doesn't appear in the navigation. So often when you first create a page, this is the best place to do it because you can always move it into the navigation later on, and it will be effectively hidden from the public until you do that or link to it from somewhere else. So I'll go ahead and click the plus. Now you do have the option, and this is, bear in mind also, this is in version 7 of Squarespace. The new version is version 7.1, and that is slightly different. The creation of a page is the same, but the way that you go about adding features is different. So this is a version 7. So what we'll do is we'll just use a blank page to begin with, because that way I can show you all of the ways that you can add things. Created our new page. What you'll want to do is to first of all give it a name. I'm going to just call this test page. And make sure that all of these match. This is good practice for search engine optimization. We'll come back to these things after we've actually built the page. So here's your blank page. Might be a bit daunting. You might think, well, I really don't know what I'm going to put into this page, but it's really simple with Squarespace to get started. So basically, just click on Edit, and then you've already got a text block here. So we'll do a heading for the page. So this is the heading, and you would make that heading 1. It's very important that you only have one heading 1 on any page, because Google uses what's called the H1 tag to help it understand what is on the page. So for example, if we change this heading to this is all about how to create pages in Squarespace. So this actually is a bit long for an heading, but there's a reason for me doing that. So you can see that it's all there. It's very similar to just typing in any word processor type application, and you can make changes to it here. So this is our heading for the moment. If you do a return, it will just go to a normal paragraph text. So make sure that the text within the page matches what the header says it is about. This again is very important for search engine optimization, because Google will crawl the pages and it will look for the keyword. So the keyword here is Squarespace. So we must make sure that the words in the page also mention Squarespace. So keyword, keyword, and obviously you would have a lot more. So you wouldn't just kind of repeat the word Squarespace a million times, because Google will pick that up and actually that's a negative. But as long as you write in normal speech, normal language, normal syntax, but get your keywords in. So you would also use keywords like websites, web design, web development, that kind of thing, if you were writing a page about how to create websites in Squarespace. So that is a text area. Now you've got all your options for formatting up here. So for example, if we wanted to bold this because we're saying it's about Squarespace, you can just click on bold, you can make it italic, you can create a link by clicking on the little link icon, and you would paste or type in your link here. By clicking on this little cog, you can also link to a page that already exists within your website. You can link it to sending an email. So for example, you could use this instead of a form by just typing your email address that you want people to send an email to here. You can even add the subject pre-filled, which can be a really good idea if you're linking from a specific, like a product page, for example. It can be really useful for that. You can even link to a phone number, and that can be by text or phone. So you could put the number in there and people can actually phone or text directly from their computer, as long as their computer has that capacity. Or you can link to a file. And you may have files already, or you can upload files into this area by using that. Okay, so that's the sort of basic formatting. You can also center the text or right justify the text, and change it into different headings as well. So, but this one we'll leave as a normal paragraph. You can also create quotes by just using this little icon here, which will highlight that as a quote. And you can create lists, what's called ordered lists, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., or unordered lists, which are bullet points. You can indent the text, put it back again. And another useful feature that I often use when you have maybe you've written a blog outside of Squarespace, which would be the right thing to do, and you want to paste it into Squarespace, but perhaps you put some formatting in and you've realised that that was a bad idea. If you use this little clipboard icon, you paste your text into here, and it will take out all of the formatting and just put it in as plain text. And that is the best way to do that, because otherwise you'll end up with all sorts of strange things happening on the page. So it's a good idea to do that. This button here will just take off the formatting, and this deletes the whole section. So that is a text area. Now there's lots of other things that you can add, and you can see these little blue lines and crosses coming up as I hover over. And what these do is they allow you to add a new type of block. And a block is how Squarespace describes the content on the page. So if I click on this little blue plus, I get all of these options come up. Text we've already talked about. Buttons, videos, spaces, images, galleries, forms, audio. You know, you've got so many options of the different things that you can add into this area. So I'll just show you how to add an image. A really fantastic function in Squarespace is that you've got access to a huge library of free images from Unsplash. So let's have a look at websites, because that's what we are talking about. So we'll just pick an image that looks kind of like it's something to do with websites. And that will put that image into the page. I'm not going to go through the image editor in this tutorial because that's a whole other thing, but you've got options in there to crop the image, to resize the image, to put filters on it, and all sorts of things like that. But an important thing to mention is this design option here. So inline just basically means that the image is just placed in line with the text with no special features or so on, but you can have a caption with that. A poster will actually place text on the top of the image for you. And this is real text, you know, it's searchable, it's findable within search engines. So it's a great option for lots of times. You've also got a card where you have an image with text next to it. Overlap, which is what it sounds. Collage, like this. And then stack is just another way of showing that. So we'll leave it with stack. So this is just the text that is default. So this image is about websites. Learn all about creating and editing pages in Squarespace. So the settings for this text is actually created in Design Styles, which I'm not going to go into here. So this is a default for my particular website, but yours will have a different default setup for it. So that is to create an image. Again, underneath that, you might want to have perhaps a line to just separate that out. And then maybe another block of text. Some more text here about website design in Squarespace. And notice that I'm using keywords, website design, Squarespace. So I'll just bold them just to make them stand out. That's not a practice that you would do particularly and doesn't help your SEO in any way whatsoever. I'm only doing it for the purpose of this video. Something else that's important to know about how blocks work. Let's create another text block. And I'm going to copy this text into here. And then what I want to do is show you how to create effectively columns. So you need to drag that across so that you can see that little blue line on the far right side, which shows you that it's going to place that text block next to the other one. And now we have two columns. And then you can just type here for this column. And you can make 3 or 4 columns, depending on what you want to do. So I'm just going to save that. So at the moment, there is an image in the page, but it's not particularly exciting. Now, what you may want to do with a page is give it an attractive header area. It's very common to do that, and it can just make the page more impactful. Sometimes it's really nice to keep it very, very plain, but I'm going to just show you now the settings for the page. So to access the settings, it's a little cog here. And I'm going to talk you through each one of these things. I've already shown you this one. This enable page, this, if you disable it, that would be, for instance, something that you're working on. I wanted to have it enabled so that you could clearly see that. You can password protect it, again, if you're working on it, or perhaps you have some content that you only want people perhaps who pay to be able to see that content. The page description is really important, again, for SEO, and you want that to match. So you've got, let's rename this now. So Squarespace editing, let's just call it that. So you want all these things to match. Sometimes these two don't have to match. There could be a reason why you wanted them to be different, but it's a good idea if you can to have all of this matching. It matches the header that we've already had. It matches the content, and then the description. Learn all about how to create and edit pages in Squarespace. And I'm going to put 7.0 with Zoe Howard, Caxton Communications, because that's me. So that's really important to do. So you've got keyword there. In fact, I'm going to add Squarespace 7.0 websites, another keyword. Okay, very important to do. With SEO, usually if you put that page description in there, it will usually go into the SEO as well. But just to make sure, I'm going to copy it and put it in there as well. And we've already got Squarespace editing because that's the page name. So you don't need to put it in the title as well because it's already there. The social image will be, if you were to share this page on social media, what people would see there. So it might be, usually you have a default one set for your site, which could be a logo or something like that. But often, to be honest with you, logos don't look very good when you do that. So I am going to go search for images, and we've already got our nice website related image, so I'm going to add that. And then that's what you would see on social media, which, you know, looks pretty attractive. So I mentioned about the header area, and this is where you do that. So in the media. So we're not going to use this picture because if you think about it, it's quite cluttered. There's quite a lot going on in that image, and that's going to detract from our header area. So let's have a think about what we might want to do. Let's just have something generic. So this swirly, don't know what that is, but it's, you know, quite nice. It kind of tones in okay with my site. So I'm going to put that in as the header image. Save that. And then I have this kind of slightly strange thing on my site where I have this very narrow bar for my header images. A lot of websites, that image would go underneath the site title and the navigation, or it would be much larger than that and it would fill up a space. So that is basically how to create a page, how to add some content to it. And I would encourage you to play around with what you can do. And in the next little section of this video, I'll just give you a reminder of some of the key things that I've covered in this video. Time for a quick recap. I hope that the video explainer that I've just done was helpful to you. And this is just a quick recap of the key points. First of all, match your name, description, header and content. This is for SEO purposes. It's really important. You can hide the page while you're creating it and then move it into the navigation if you wish to. Make sure you link to it from other pages if it's not in the navigation. And finally, create great content and enjoy editing your website. And always contact me if you need any help anytime. Thanks a lot. Bye.